I feel honored to be able to interview the mom who we have sitting with us today. I'm at the A Safe Pool podcast. And Michelle, unfortunately, lost one of her babies to drowning. And so I would love to hear your story and your experience.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to share. I always start off by telling people one of the greatest gifts that you can give to a parent, a grieving parent, is the opportunity to share their names and their stories. So it was Friday afternoon in June of 2008. My oldest was 3, almost 4 years old at the time, and Brayden was 17 months old. Just starting to walk and run a little bit, followed his brother everywhere. Active, crazy boys like always. I was also about 4 months pregnant at the time with my youngest, and was having a really rough day. Very, very sick. Could not keep anything down. I didn't know what was going on, if it was morning sickness, whatever, but I know that I was off my game a little extra that day. We had just moved into our very first home. We had been there about 6 months, first time ever having a home with a pool, and we're overwhelmed with what to learn and how to get things going. Had only been in the pool together once. And so we had talked about putting things together and just hadn't. But on that day, and recently before that, my husband had recently changed out the handles on our doorknobs. So we had the childproof handles, but it used to get jammed and you had to take the childproof off to be able to open the door.
Totally understandable.
And so that morning I had taken it off to be able to let the dogs out, and I had set it on the counter and forgotten to put it back on. It was not something I really thought about much. The boys never went outside on their own. They were always with me. They never tried. They would ask. It's so quickly as parents to get into that, it's not going to happen me mentality. We're fine. So it wasn't even a kind of a thought, but just being off my game, my husband ended up coming home about an hour or two later, white as a ghost, straight to the bathroom. He was sick too. And so we knew it was probably more of like a stomach flu going around. So both of us were just miserable. And again, I say that because I know that we were off our game and obviously not watching them as much. But suddenly things went quiet. And as most parents know, when you have a toddler and they go quiet, it's usually not a good sign. Correct. And suddenly when we couldn't hear them, we started looking. And like most do, we went searching the house, looking all over the house to find them where they were. Were they hiding? Were they playing? Were they climbing? Where were they? My husband went eventually back toward the back door. And right as he was going to the back door, my oldest was coming towards the back door and just pointed to the pool. Brayden was face down. We had done all the research. We were going to do swim lessons eventually. They were young, we were going to put a pool fence up because that's a safe way to keep the pool safer. We were never going to leave the ladder in. We actually had an above ground pool, which you don't hear about as often. It was a little bit inset. But they are just as dangerous. It was a large above ground pool. And of course that ladder was never going to get left. And that ladder was left up. There was nothing in place to keep those boys from having full access to that pool. So, unfortunately, we never left the house that day. My husband pulled him out, started CPR, called 911. They came, worked on him for what seemed like forever, but never left the house that day, unfortunately.
That's hard. I can't even imagine that being one of my babies or somebody that I know. So I'm grateful that you share your story. And that it feels like you've made it your mission to help save other lives. Yeah. Right? Can 100%. You share with us a little bit about what you're doing in the public to make sure that another baby doesn't lose their lives?
I can. Again, the greatest gift is to say his name and talk about him and share his story. But it's not about me. It's not about him. I don't care. You take our names off of everything, our logos. It's not about any of that. It's about the awareness.
Right.
I didn't know. And I quickly found out that I'm not the only mom that didn't know. Right. Instead of finding one story or another story, 2, 3, I found dozens and hundreds. And I quickly got angry. Why didn't I know? Right. And why didn't any of us know? And why are there so many parents that are losing our children? And then started learning it's preventable. If somebody had just told me, would it have made a difference? I don't know. But people quickly started telling me this is powerful. I heard about Brayden, so we put a fence up. I heard Brayden's story, so we decided to do swim lessons. And that was the most life-giving thing you could
That's
say to me. It was
yeah.
like, and people said, you have no idea the power that your story has. And again, it's not about me or him or our names, but if that story helps that another parent or caregiver make a better decision, that's all I have to give. So I just kind of started sharing. And so we started a foundation, and we do have, it's because of Brayden. It was so hard to come up with a name, but nothing else fit. I would not be in this space. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't because of him. Right. So because of Brayden, we really just work to educate parents. Drowning, as many know, many don't know.
Many don't know.
Most don't know, I should say.
So
in
please,
this space,
please
we know.
state those facts, because most
but
don't
drowning
know.
is the number one cause of accidental death for children under 5 years old. It's number 2 all the way to 15. Those numbers fluctuate year to year, but right around 1 and 2, up to 15 years old. We are losing thousands of children every single year
to something that you feel is preventable.
Exactly.
Right.
It's 100% preventable. Yeah. I truly believe it's 100% preventable. So we work very hard to just share. I fully believe that we made a lot of mistakes. People don't often like when I say it that way, but I share that because if you can learn from my mistakes and do one thing different, then I hope it helps save you from ever having this story become yours.
Which I feel is so powerful. Like, somebody might tell you that's wrong, but I feel that's powerful. Yeah. Because if you're willing to admit your mistakes, and somebody else can hear that and hopefully rectify their own situation to save their babies, that's huge.
I hope so. Because as parents, there's so much we have to think about, and we want to keep them safe. And there's so many important causes, important things that you've got to remember and think about and set up and put in place and all of that. Sadly, like we said, it's number 1, number 2, all the way at those ages. But yet water safety is one of the least things you hear talked about as a new parent, as a all parents. We spend so much time learning about fire safety and stranger danger and don't touch the hot stove and look both ways when you cross the street. But how many times do you hear a normal day-to-day that your parents are talking to these kiddos about staying away from water? Don't go near water without an adult. So,
or a pediatrician saying, hey, have you put up your pool fence? Or giving swim lessons. Maybe prevalent in Arizona, but not necessarily across the country, right?
Not as much as we need. There's areas that are definitely have come far, and we're definitely making progress, I feel like, than we were originally. But it's still such an issue. And so that's my heart, is just to share our story in hopes that somebody else can just learn from it, and to know there are so many things that I believe that we could have done. We had not done swim lessons yet. We had no alarms on the doors or windows. We had no fence in place. We had left the ladder up. Any one of those things for us. Our story is different than some, whereas it was not swim time. Statistics also show that 70% of drownings happen when it's not swim time. Brayden was fully dressed, jeans, a t-shirt, tennis shoes. They had been playing. They were boys. They weren't, it wasn't pool time. So 70% of those happen. And so I wasn't standing there by the pool. In our case, it wasn't a lapse of supervision around the water. And as parents, none of us, I love when people say, oh, I watch my kids. You use the bathroom, you eat.
You turn around for 1 second.
There are so many things that we do, especially when you're in your home or out and about and you're not
talking,
at home.
Or you have multiple kids.
Exactly.
There's a number of reasons.
A diaper,
there's a number of reasons. Or
so
your dog gets out. There's so many different things.
And so that's why the importance of having the layers, because you just never know what.
And you have a coin you showed me earlier. Can you talk about this coin?
This is something that I'm really proud of, something that I love. Growing up, my dad had one of these that he would carry in his pocket. It's a little round wooden coin, and it says "to it." And most people look at it, it takes them a while to even figure out what it is. It's TUIT, but it's the word "to it." And it's round. It's a round to it. I did not create this. It's been around, like I said, for years and years. But my dad always had one in his pocket, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And he would always say whenever we would make excuses for something we were supposed to do. I'll do it later. I'll do it late. I don't know. I haven't gotten to it yet. I'm worried. And he would always tease us about it. And I always share my story again, that we had done all the research. We were going to get the lessons. We were going to put the pool fence up. I just hadn't gotten around to it yet. And that waiting will be the biggest regret of my life forever. So one of the things that I created, I found a company that creates these wooden ones. They allowed us to put our logo. We have the layers of protection around here, just as simple reminders of swim lessons, barriers, CPR, supervision, some of the important things we believe you need to have in place. But don't wait. Don't wait. So when I share, I will love to put these in hands of caregivers and children, not children, but to adults and caregivers typically, and let them know, now that you know what you need to do, don't wait. Make the phone calls today, because next week could be too late. So this is your round to it. to get to it right away.
I love that.
Of these beautiful
Show
children.
me your beautiful baby.
This is Brayden, our beautiful Brayden.
He's so handsome.
I just say, look into this face.
Right.
I'd put up the ugliest, most disgusting fence you could ever put in my yard to have him back here today. If we had had a pool fence around that pool, those boys would not have access to it. So yes, it may not be convenient. It may not be pretty, aesthetic. It may be in the way.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I can promise you that fence is worth
that life is worth
this
saving,
life is worth
right?
more than that ugly pool fence, putting that up. So that would be my challenge, is also just the reminder. I'm blessed over the years to have partnered with some amazing organizations. I'm part of the National Drowning Prevention Alliance. I'm part of the Families United to Prevent Drownings, which is a group of families like mine. And I'm honored to be able to be a part of that as we share our stories collectively. And so just sharing those stories with people and letting people know drowning does not discriminate. No. It does not matter where you live, your swimming ability, your financial status, your socioeconomic status, your race, your age. I don't care what it is. It does not discriminate. And no one is drown proof. It's one of my least favorite words ever in this world is when people say no one is drown proof. No one is completely safe.
That's a big thing we talk about. So at the Michael Phelps Foundation, we help prevent, right? And we can only make babies safer, not safe, right?
Yes,
and so along the same lines,
Yes.
you can't truly prevent it from happening,
right?
But you can build those barriers around it from happening.
Exactly.
And so what are some of the major pieces that you feel could potentially help a family outside of a pool fence? What else is there? Knowledge is power.
Yeah. Knowledge is powerful. The more you know, the more you do, you do better. Supervision, obviously, most important. We talk about making sure that you assign a water watcher. So whenever you are in or around water.
I love that one.
And I always stress that because it doesn't, again, matter if it is swim time. If you're having a cookout and you have a pond or a creek or a pool anywhere nearby, even if you're not in the water, make sure there is somebody keeping an eye on those children. It takes 1 second and it's completely silent. It's not at all what we see on Hollywood. There's no flailing and screaming and any of that normally. So turning around to just simply talk to your friend, answer a text message, grab a hot dog off the grill could be long enough to let some little one slip away and into the water. And so many of us know that kids are drawn to water. Even as adults, we're drawn to water. It's exciting. It's enticing. We want to see it, touch it, watch it. It's something that we're all drawn to.
Right.
And so it's so easily for one of those little ones to slip away without being noticed. So make sure that there's somebody always watching. Lifeguards typically change their stations every 15 minutes. So I tell adults, give yourself 15 minutes. You can go 15 minutes without a conversation, without eating or drinking, without using the restroom real quick, without your phone. And then when and if you need to make that phone call or answer a text, then you can simply let someone else know, I need to step away. Can you please make sure that you're the one watching the kids? So because of that, we give out actual physical cards and we encourage parents and caregivers to actually use a water guardian tag or water watcher tag. This actually breaks off as a keychain. We encourage people to hold on to it. You can physically, it gives a tangible reminder to hand off. If you're not going to physically do this, I say put it next to your towel, hook it to the pool fence, hook it to your beach bag so that morning as you're leaving to go to the water, you remember, let's make sure that somebody's communicating. And if I need to step away, don't assume that somebody else is watching the kids when you turn your back.
That's so
Make
hard.
sure that you communicate with them, that it's their turn to now be watching.
And you forget, it's so easy. Like you can be at a pool party with a bunch of kids and it's so easy to not have a lifeguard, to not have a designated water watcher, because everybody's there to have fun and enjoy.
Yeah.
And as we come in that time of the year where it's summer pool parties or end of the year parties, it's just
And unfortunately, those are the kind of events that we see things happen, and it happens more easily because everyone lets their guard down.
Right.
You become really comfortable when you're in your own home or in a comfortable area. You're with people that you know and kids you know. We become a little bit more relaxed than we do if you're at the beach or at a place that you're unsure of, or you're at a designated pool. Sometimes you might think things through, but we get very comfortable, especially things like the parties and the backyard cookouts and things like that. So it's not something that parents often remember. So again, hopefully seeing this or something like that, giving them tools helps them to just make sure to keep that in the forefront of their mind.
I love that. And where can parents access access that if they wanted to get something like that?
Well, this is actually a card. We are partnered with Collins Hope out of Austin, Texas. That's who created this. I'm a big believer in not recreating the wheel. There's something amazing they've created. Why redo it? So they actually allow us to be local partners. So this particular card has Brayden's picture and a letter story from my husband and I. But you can get them from you could reach out to me. I'm happy to get them to anybody and everybody. Our website is becauseofbrayden.org. Email me also becauseofbrayden@gmail.com. Simple. And I can certainly get them to you. There are a number of different organizations that utilize these, so you can look it up in your area if you're looking for something quicker. Lots of us do use these. So I mentioned that to say there's a lot of places, whether it's from us or from someone else.
Right.
It's a great, great tool that we believe will help keep that.
I mean, we have one in our backyard, and it doesn't go to the club, or it doesn't go to, it doesn't go to other locations with us, but it's definitely something that we talk about because
I love that.
Unfortunately, there's stories like yours that we've heard, and we probably watch harder than others solely because of our mission to make sure that we're saving lives. And you're doing exactly the same thing. And if it wasn't for parents like you guys, I don't know that people would hear it properly.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. I hate that it takes that. One of the things I share often, I won't say favorite, but one of the things that I share often is just a simple phrase that says, don't let the loss of someone you love be the reason you know about water safety.
I agree with you.
So many parents and caregivers and adults don't know until
it happens.
And don't let that be the reason. That's the only reason I know the things I know. And I've worked really hard over the last 10, 12, 15 years to learn as much as I can so that I can educate more. But my challenge is learn it now.
Right.
Be ahead of me. Don't follow my lead.
Yeah.
Take the extra precautions and the steps that you can ahead of time to know and prepare.
I'm grateful that you are willing to share your story, and I'm grateful that you're willing to talk to people about it, because that takes a lot of courage too. So thank you for doing that.
I appreciate it.
Is there anything else that you wish that we knew?
Just to remember, it can happen to anybody. We're good parents.
Yeah.
We had all the other things in place. We just didn't know. So please that's my biggest thing, is just take the time to educate yourself, educate your friends, your family members, your babysitters, your parents, because there's so many people out there that just still don't know. And that's my biggest thing is, if it can happen to me, I promise it can happen to anybody. And don't ever think that you are, be able to escape that, and that you're ever prepared enough.
And it doesn't matter pools. Like, we're talking specifically about pools.
Right.
But there's oceans, there's lakes, there's rivers, there's
absolutely
a bucket of water.
Yeah. But I was going to say buckets under 1 year old. That's the number one. Bathtubs, buckets of water, toilets.
Yeah.
Parents who use those little tiny plastic pools you get at Walmart for $5. When you're done with it, turn it over, flip it over. I mean, it takes 1 inch of water. At any age, an adult, 1 inch of water. If you cover your nose and your mouth, 1 inch of water is all it takes to cover that for a person to drown. And again, no one is drown proof, whether you're an expert swimmer, whether you've never been in the water ever in your life, which is hard to believe, but whatever that is. And no matter where you are, we live in South Carolina, and around our area, every single neighborhood is full of retention ponds. They're everywhere. None of them are fenced off. And they look like, some of them even look like fancy little ponds. But again, they're just as dangerous. So there's water everywhere.
It's a good reminder.
Surrounded. No one does. It has no water anywhere.
It's not just
everywhere.
pools. It's water.
It's everywhere.
1 inch of water.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having this conversation with me.
Thank you for letting me and share. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Tanya. Thank you for watching the A Safe Pool podcast. If you'd like to know more about water safety, please visit us at asafepool.com.